How you doing, everybody? Javi and Rick on watches, and Abdul and Dominic and Neff. Hey, the rancher, did I miss you? Took several shots and missed every one, rancher. Hi, Hyder. Hater. Sorry. Hey, Big Sal. Oh, good to see you guys. Okay. Got a bunch of stuff I wanted to talk about this morning. The basic thing I wanted to kick around with you guys is that you have a lot of certificates and other kinds of judgments about a watch that are supposed to make it give you an idea whether it's better or worse or whatever it is. And what I wanted to start off with was looking at the positions that a watch is adjusted to. I don't know if you can see this or not, but it says abbreviated adjusted to six positions. And so, what are the six positions? And so I I have the first one is called dial up. The dial is on the top like this, and and then you test it on a time graph or whatever you have. And then there's what's called crown down. Let's see, I got this funny one. Here's the crown right here. So this would be crown down, and then there's dial down, and there is, let's see, this would be crown left, um, crown up, and then this would be crown right. So you have all of those. Those are the things that are used on that. And one of the things that I came across, it was sort of interesting. Let me bring it up here. Is are the ETA grades. And the reason I'm using ETA grades as an example of all of this is that they they charge different amounts depending on how many adjustments they have. Now, the first one is called the economique, which is the cheap one, and there's no information on what they have in terms of the it's their cheapest one basically, and so they don't run it through a lot of tests. Now the standard one, they have two positions, uh, and so they tested at two positions. I don't know, maybe dial up, dial down. I'm not sure what they are, but they only check in two. The reason it costs more for the more positions that a watch has been adjusted in is it takes time. You got to do all of this different stuff. They also have the variation on this is on the standard ETA to plus or minus 12 seconds a day and plus or minus 30 seconds. Um, I'm not sure why they have both of those, but they do. It's usually plus 12 seconds or minus 30 seconds, something like that. Okay, their next one is called the elaborate. And the elaborate is plus minus 7 seconds, plus minus 15 seconds. Usually, again, that's like plus seven, minus 15. The Now this one, the big thing is that the amount of variation narrows. Okay, originally it was 12 to 30, and now it's 7 to 15. Basically, half, a little more than that. Now, after the elaborate is that they have one called the top, and the top is plus 4 minus 10 seconds a day. So again, and the other thing that's going on is that on the standard, you have two positions. On the elaborate, it's adjusted to three positions. And then on the top, it's adjusted to five positions. Okay, so and then you have more adjustments. So what that means, let me get a watch that you can with a better crown on it. This is this is a very standard 3 o'clock crown. Okay, and so it's they simply tested it at more positions, uh, for the adjustments, and then they do it to a finer degree. In other words, they adjust everything so that it works within these in these parameters. Now, the final one, the top one that ETA has is called the chronometer, and it's again it was five position. This is interesting. There's six positions, but a lot of them say, look, five is all we need because a couple of these, I guess, are the same. Maybe it's crown right, crown left. One of them that is like um, this and this isn't going to make a lot of difference, but this and this will. So they figure, okay, let's give it five, and that's we'll call it a day. Other ones insist on having all six. That's fine too. Now the five positions they adjust it to five positions and the temperature, and then they have a COSC. Now, what's COSC? COSC is another set of adjustments, and not adjustments, but checking for time and so forth. The whole idea behind COSC is for chronometer rating, and the original chronometers were really cool. In fact, they still have some. Um, at Besançon in France, they have an observatory, and what they do is that they set up your watch, and they measure it against the movement of the planets. I mean, like really, that's what a COSC is some version of that. Um, okay, let's see. They have some other things that they have. They have different hairspring grades too. They all use Navirox hairsprings. Now, Swatch bought is one of the three companies that developed um, silicon hairsprings along with Rolex and Patek Philippe. And so maybe they're giving it to their better ones. They're giving that, or to me, they give it to their cheaper ones. I don't know. So anyway, so that was one of the first things that I wanted to take a look at. The next thing was the Geneva Seal. Now, the Geneva Seal, the thing about a Geneva Seal, this is a Vacheron Constantin Historique Américain 1921, and it's got a little thing back here that's a Geneva Seal. And they're just, where is it? Yeah, it's really small. It's right down here by this lug. That little bitty thing right there is the Geneva Seal. And what does that mean? Well, the Geneva Seal has all of this whole list of things that a watch has to be in order for it to have a Geneva Seal. And one of the criteria is no silicone hairsprings. And that was why in 2009 that Patek Philippe told them to go jump in a lake. And they said, we have our own seal, the Patek Philippe seal, which I don't know. To me, that's sort of fun. I'm gonna have the Bill seal. And I gotta, I gotta have a seal. These videos have a Bill seal on them. Now, how important is the Geneva seal? I really don't know. I certainly don't think much of the Patek Philippe seal. I think I'd have more respect for that watch if they had no seal at all. But here's my FP Journe, and it's made in Geneva. I mean, it's, in fact, on the back of his watches, instead of having Swiss made, he has made in Geneva. And he would no more deign to have his watches judged by uh, Geneva seal than fly a kite. He just that's like, you know, I don't need no stinking seal. So you have some of the top watches that have none of that. Um, Akariva, Gerbo, and Force, they don't like it. And also, too, you're not supposed to use the word chronometer on your watch unless it's gone through the COSC or some similar one that certifies it as a chronometer. Well, he named his watch Chronomètre Souverain, so it's the chronometer is right there on the front. So it was like, Okay. So what does all this mean? I mean, does it really make your watch any better? Um, I don't know. I of all of the watches I have, my Harboring 2 keeps perfect time. I mean, this is I it I've had it for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years now, and I wind it up and it keeps perfect time every time I wind it up, and it's, you know, it's just that's just the way it is. This guy, likes to get magnetized, and so I have to run through a magnetizer on it, um, and it's far more expensive. So, I don't know, I sort of wanted to get your opinion on these. Now let me tell you what set this whole thing off, okay? I don't know if any of you saw the, Horological Society of New York, Zoom talk that they had the other day. But they had these, 2 people from, Nomos. They had the gal who was the sort of the business kind of marketing person, and then they had what they was sort of the guys from the back room. In other words, a actual watchmaker. Well, the watchmaker goes into these great details about, the technology and stuff of it, and, probably we watch nerds just like, oh boy," and how they made it thin and everything they did to it with this, new movement they had. And so then they had the question and answer sequence, which always is never a good idea, I think. And so somebody says, "Well, are they COSC certified?" Big quiet. You could have heard a pin drop. And the answer was, "No, they aren't." And she said, "Well, it would have added $500 cost to it." Now remember, um, Philippe Dufour had said that the best watch under $10,000 was the Nomos. He loves those watches. And I've talked to Nomos owners, they love them, and I'm sure they're great, but they had when they asked him about, um, the certification, the COSC certification is sort of mm. Also, too, I asked him about the swing system. It was really an innocent question. I said, "Well, they always talk about their swing system in their movement," and I wasn't quite sure what that was. So I said, "How does the swing system differ from the regular Swiss system?" And I mean, they could have been given a straw hat and a cane and yada yada yada. They danced all around that one. And the guy, maybe it was more complex than I realized, but the host of it said, what we'll do someday, maybe we'll have that as a separate topic and talk about it." But I thought, like, on that, I do like Nomos watches. Make no mistake about it. I think the new one with the very thin one is great, but it's interesting that I realize that none of my watches are COSC. I don't think so anyway. And my FP Jour, they don't care what anybody thinks. They'll call theirs a chronometer, whether they like it or not. And as far as the Geneva Seal's concerned, Vacheron Constantin probably has more than anybody else. Another one, though, that has a Geneva seal is certain Roger Dubuis, and this they've got I have two of these. One, the Easy Diver, and the other one is sort of another one like this, but it's not a. It's different. It's a sympathy, sort of a bulky version of a sympathy. It doesn't go with my image of a sympathy, but that's the name of it. Okay, I've talked nonstop. Let's see what you got. Um, oh, by the way, too, one other thing I wanted to say, because there's a whole bunch of other stuff. I had a whole bunch of things listed. I thought I'll never get through them all unless I just sort of go through them, and then we can talk about these. Um, the Horological Society of New York, you can get your watch certified. They'll send it through a COSC certification for you if you want. What I do for certifying if you call it that. I say we put them on a time grapher. Put them on a time grapher, dial up, dial down, all of the other kinds of things you have to do on it. That's not gonna certify it for anyone, I can tell you that. But at least I can tell if my watches are running the way I like them to. Okay, how do seals live in Geneva? On the mountain lakes. Yeah. Hey, Lee. Oh yeah, boy, it's cold out there. We're getting all of the weather from Oklahoma is coming to us, I think, tomorrow. Today it's just sort of overcast. Hey Abdul, what's up? Making a seal yourself and putting it on a watch doesn't I know. It it's even, you know, my founding group is the pretentious watchmakers, and even the pretentious watchmakers aren't that pretentious. But let's have a PM on it for pretentious watchmakers. That's I agree, Abdul. That's so funny. Made in Geneva. Why didn't we think of that? We did. Somebody asked about that, rancher. Oh, you mean instead of putting Swiss made? Yeah, we could have had. There was one of them though. Butenlanen and Caton are out. They're in the next canton. They're about an hour's drive from the middle of it. Hi, Lee Quinn. How you doing, man? Uh, Indrajit. Hi, Indrajit. How are you? Private Joker. Hello from the restless part of. Ooh, man, is there right now? Yeah, it's pretty restless. I hope everyone's okay. Hi, Tim. Um, Assembled in Switzerland with 40% Chinese parts just doesn't sound right. Doesn't to a lot of people, Lee. I mean, they make a big deal about something being Swiss made. And you're right. I think if it's 60% made in Switzerland, you're good to go. And I don't know, like somebody has a little balance wheel or something, or some kind of little thing, a little escapement, that they smuggled in from Hong Kong, or uh, uh, hey, Adam, RD is hard to wear, very bulky. That's for it's for big guys. It's a big guy watch. I wear mine all the time. That's my walking watches. These things are the RD14 movement in it is a real dream. These are heavy duty though, but I like them. If it's they're good for a bar fight, crack somebody across. I knocked him out with my Roger Dubuis. Hey Daniel, I buy watches when it's been certified by me. There you go, Daniel. Hi, Pine Baron. Let's see. Andrew, what else is going on? John? Um, okay. PW seal is a goat wearing a beret. What is jeez. Dominic, what's up? Hey, any quality manufacturer should have specifications that they test their own watches on as to internal quality control. They do, and that's a good point, Dominic. I there was these guys, H. Moser. They had this one article about it, and they showed all of the different kinds of testing materials. They have H. Moser has a branch, I guess. It's called Precision Engineering, and they are indeed well named because that's exactly what they do, and they have the kinds of things that Dominic stopped talking about. Hey, Owen, sounds like COC is a bit out of date as the industry has moved on to other priorities, like a bit like Nuremberg times on a car. I don't know what Nuremberg times are. Yeah, you know, um, every Rolex is COSC certified. They send all million and a half of them. I don't know how they do that. I guess, and then there's another interesting thing about it. There are two types of certification. the COSC certification is a movement only, while the QF that Rick just mentioned, the Quality Fourier, that is with the watches cased up. Okay, so it's something. You know, I've been thinking of having one of my watches uh, go through the certification, the COSC type of certification that Horological Society of New York has, um, just to test it. Of all of my watches, the only one that I can say, well, this one will probably pass would be my Harboring 2. One of my best deals ever on that. Let's see. Most German-made watches like Sin are made in Germany with Swiss movement. Yeah, they are. Another thing too, there's a German testing um, mechanism, and I think that came up. I don't know if any of the rest of you saw that Zoom thing they had on Friday. I think it was Friday or maybe it was Thursday on Nomos. And somebody was asking about COSC, and they said, "Well, the Germans have their own testing." And I said, "Do you send them through that?" And he said, "No, it would add to the cost of it." Roger Dodger. Oh, pretentious watchmakers. That's right. A beret on a goat. That would be it. Let's see. Metis case two. Okay. Yeah. Omega uses Meta, which is sort of interesting because both Omega, I guess, Omega and ETA are both owned by Swatch, but I guess they send for some reason they have their Omegas certified by Metas and their ETA certified by COSC. I don't know why. Hey, Doc and his watch. I don't believe that Rolex certifies all their watches because Breitling makes a point of saying that they are the only major brand to do so. We're going to believe everything that Breitling says. That's Breitling. I don't know. Breitling doesn't tell the truth very often about a lot of the movements that they have. They give it some phony baloney caliber number like B something or other, and it turns out to be an ETA. Nothing wrong with ETA, but if you're going to use them, you ought to tell the buyers you're going to do that. So if Breitling, whatever Breitling says, doesn't carry a lot of weight with me, Doc, sorry. Um, if you send your watch to be certified, do they stamp the dial with their stamp of approval? I don't know. I mean, if somebody asked Aki Riva the same thing. Aki Riva was asked about that, and well, he said if you want to, you can take an Aki Riva watch and send it to Beson Combe. That's the one that Laurent Ferrier uses. So that's another kind of thing, and the one at Besom Combe is, as far as I'm concerned, just as good as any of the others, and it is an astronomical observatory, and the one I think on top of a hill outside of Glashütte is a German one, and Metis has one, and they're all observatory based, but I'm pretty sure they probably have some kind of digital thing that tells you what's up with them. I don't think Rolex says it with a Cellini line. Maybe not. I don't know. That was what I was reading this thing about COSC, and this is all the Rolexes have it, so I believed them. Maybe I should believe Breitling instead. Who knows? Uh, I'd rather have a more affordable good watch than a good watch with a seal or COSC on the dial with a higher price. Yeah, Abdul, I think, a lot of people feel that way. Um, like I said, here, you take H. Moser um, watches. They're beautifully done. This one of them is I have by H. Moser's double hairspring. That thing is engineered 5 ways from Sunday and keeps beautifully accurate time. And they finally got rid of it because it just cost them too much to make the things. 1,000,000 watches tested, and we have a hard time testing 50,000 kids in Oklahoma. I will not comment on that at all. Oh, okay, Andres, what's up? I don't think the sort of add values nowadays. S- most song halter brand Rolex doesn't use it. Same as AP and PP. Indies also don't do it. Moser, FP on. I appreciate them, but not adding value. I don't know. On the one hand, you got to like the idea that they sent something through a lot of certification to make sure it's running just right. And for mechanical watches, I think that's important. As soon as you stick a silicon in it, you know, forget about it. What about the what about parallax? Rather time to an atomic. Oh yeah, yeah. Now if you have my iPhone is hooked up to an atomic clock, so the same. Like the rest of us, I take my watch and it's time to set it, and I'll just look at my iPhone or my computer. It's not but it's something anyway. Okay, I got two excited Oklahomans going on here. Okay, one's from Frackin' Gulch, and the other one is from what? Oklahoma town. All right, so I don't know. One of the things about COSC, let's say you go in and you pay extra to have your watch. Um, let's say they have Harboring starts offering a COSC version of their Felix, and they charge you $500 more for it. And, so you thought, "Well, I want one that's really just gonna be perfect," so you pay the $500 more. That doesn't guarantee that it will keep within those parameters as long as you have it. You have a watch a couple years, and it's gonna get banged around and so forth, and you take it back, and it would very likely fail the COSC. Okay. They got okay. Hey, EP, how you doing? All right, guys. So do any of you have COSC certified watches? The reason I'm asking is that if you do, I want to know if the ones that say chronometer on them have any better timekeeping than the ones that don't. That was the question. This one doesn't have any of those things. It's reasonably affordable. This is a Harboring 2, and it outdoes my FP Journe, my Vacheron Constantin. The another watch that keeps almost perfect time is my FP Journe Resonance. That that resonance, that really works. I mean, those things keeps them really in a tight spot. That works very well. Okay, let's see. Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, okay, let's see what you got. Seems like in-house test also a trend. Yeah, I don't know. Patek Philippe says that their standards are higher than Geneva seal, and that's how come they put the PP seal on it, which is which is a I don't know. I got a kick out of that. But they said, "Well, we don't need no stinking Geneva seal. We got our PP seal," which means that We tested it ourselves, and so we know better. I don't know. Um, okay, if you're trying to establish a ban, any chronometer certification would likely help to establish credibility. Um, I don't know. It might. That's a good point, Andrew. It really is. But I don't know to what extent that would work if you've got. I don't know. That might work. I think that to me, what really puts a watch over, as far as I'm concerned, is really having some high quality, is some type of really top drawer um, constant force mechanism. Now I know they're knocking out tourbillons left and right, and that's saying something if you can make a tourbillon. But the ones that I really like, I mean, you have Fusi and Chain, or you have Remontoid Galate, and some of the other really interesting ones. To me, that puts a watch over the top, more so than it's been certified. But other people may figure, hey, this is a certified chronometer. Yours isn't. So there. Yeah, quartz watches are always more accurate. Yeah, Howard's point is that every watch at some point starts losing its performance uh, values, and then that's when you take them in for servicing. They need some lubrication, or they need some other kind of adjustment, or maybe even overhaul certain parts and so forth. Yeah, that'll happen whether it's certified or not. I would rather have a watch fresh out of service. When my Parmigiani Colpa came back, it was like a new watch. It was great. And before it went in, beside the fact that it had a broken stem, it was also running slow. Doesn't run slow anymore. Great watch. Frying pan time. Okay, guys. We have a sundial clock next to my office building. But then again, the clock museum is also next door. Abdul, you live in the I thought you lived in the Black Forest. They have those there too. Okay. All right. We'll see you guys. Thanks for coming. This afternoon at 4 o'clock New York time, we'll be talking again about some of these same issues, but we're going to be trying to look at some other kinds of things with them. Take care, be safe, and stay, I was going to say, don't take any wooden watches, but that's not true either.